Yep. All right, so what we're talking about is a maintenance kit for the helicopter. You know, sometimes you have the helicopter for a while, and even if you don't crash, you want to refresh your heli. So what I'm thinking of, you could buy the parts individually, but if it was packaged in a kit form, where all the items come together, then it would encourage people to buy. I mean, I know I certainly would buy that part. Now, the items I'm talking about would be the inner bearings on the grips, because typically when you crash and you bend the spindle, the inner bearing would take the load. Also, the thrust bearings right here. Similarly, the upper bearing on the main mast here, because typically if the main mast is tweaked, then the upper bearing gets tweaked. Moving along to the tail, it would be these two bearings here. You know, the tail spins at a very high rate. It's probably a 5-to-1 gear ratio or something like that. So we're talking about the bearing here, the outer, this one also. On the tail spindle, you'd want the thrust bearings and also the inner bearing here and the inner bearing here. I'm saying if you package those items in a kit, I would certainly buy them. Even if I've flown 60, 70 flights on the heli, I would say, okay, let me buy that and refresh the bearings on the heli so that it's, you know, it feels good and it flies good. And I know there are no issues in the future.
Normally, how many flights before you grease and re-grease the bearings?
Well, that's the whole point.
Without any failures.
If I don't have failures, typically I don't pull down a perfectly flying helicopter. So,
Okay.
so it doesn't happen. However, if I had a moment, because we're talking about just pulling down the head just to re-grease the bearings.
Yeah.
Now, if I had that kit, I'd say, hey, look, here's an opportunity. I'm going to pull the head down. I'm going to re-grease it, take these bearings out, and just do a full maintenance. That takes me a couple hours, and I know my heli is fresh. If it's raining out or something and I can't go to the park, and I have that little bag there, I'll just do it just to make sure the heli is in tip-top condition.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
So you're looking for one part number that includes several what we'll call maintenance or replacement items.
Yes. And they're more maintenance than crash items.
Okay.
Items that people overlook in their helicopter for one reason or the other. Just because it's a pain to look in the manual, find this part, find that part. I mean, people normally don't go through and replace thrust bearings. I mean, you probably haven't replaced the thrust bearings.
I have not.
Ever, right? But I have.
Sure.
I have. If I have an opportunity to go in here, I will replace the thrust bearings because I probably have an extra one at home.
Okay.
Just because I know these are things that I would look for, because the thrust bearings take a lot of load.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have probably about 250 flights on one model that I won't mention who it is, but
Right.
I did buy replacements for the tail rotor assembly.
Right.
So at some point in time, I don't have time for it. I'll give it to John. John, here, take care of this for me. Do the maintenance.
Right.
But I see your point. One part number includes several things, which is probably better price-wise.
Better price-wise, and that would encourage people to do it. You know, nobody else has done it. Why not do it for the RS5, the RS7, the RS7 Ultra? You know, people who fly, they love their models. People change their canopies, they get little doodads parts,
Yes.
upgrade parts here and there. If you have the parts bundled, I think people would more or less buy. And let's say somebody they want to replace a bearing here or a bearing there, right? From the manufacturer standpoint, somebody would probably just buy the kit instead of just buying this one bearing, even though they don't need the other parts. But just because they think in their mind, well, you know, if I need this today, just because I crashed or something like that, then I might need the other parts, so why not buy that, right? So it also ups the sales. I'm just thinking from the manufacturer standpoint, it ups the sales of the other parts that somebody else would never buy unless they need it. So they buy that one bundled item that they might need two stuff out of. The other three are just spares that they have.
What I find annoying that I hear from other people is after a crash, they'll assess what they think is wrong, put it back together, and then they'll find out that maybe a thrust bearing was bad. And then they got to wait another week to 10 days
Right.
for more parts. So their downtime is doubled simply because they didn't have that in the package.
Right.
Good idea. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, good deal.